What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla stock, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to talk about the future of Tesla and why on earth I'm still very bullish for the month of December for the stock, despite what many critics are saying. I'm also going to break down a couple of things about SPY and why on earth it's not necessarily the end of the world if we get some kind of like healthy retracement, but how you should go about this retracement, what levels should you be watching for on the charts, and how I see this panning out as time goes on. So before I say anything, let me just mention that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. So anyways, let's talk about the market, what's going on so far. SPY was very indecisive. The last time we talked about this, it was very indecisive, very flat, and pretty much just stuck between supply and demand, going between 448 and 452, back and forth and back and forth. Whichever way we break, if we could break 452, there could be one more leg higher before this thing pulls back a bit, in my opinion. Or if it loses 448, it could just pull back from here. And this is going to depend on what happens with this consolidation. As a result of what SPY does, we could see Tesla follow the same trend. For the short term, Tesla is looking a little weaker. You will notice that it cooled off a bit and it ended up establishing a lower high here. So it all depends on what SPY ends up doing and what the market does, and that's going to dictate Tesla to some extent. But towards the end of November, I think that Tesla could gain a lot of relative strength and become a lot stronger because of the Cybertruck launch event. And then I think that whatever happens after the event is hard to predict. But anyways, I still think that December is going to be very bullish for Tesla, and we have lots of upside coming. So I want to pan out how this could end up playing out. As a reminder, we just have a couple of things coming out, nothing too crazy, at least for the market. We do have the FOMC minutes on Tuesday, not to mention NVIDIA's earnings on Tuesday, so that could be very important. But for Tesla, I just want to talk about this. So the way Tesla moves could be dictated by SPY, and that's why it's going to be very important that I talk about this. Looking at SPY, I just wanted to call out that SPY has been holding up quite nicely for quite some time, but I think that it's going to be very important that we pretty much just like go over some important technicals on it. So on SPY, this thing has been uptrending quite a bit. We have a nice bullish looking structure that's still developed on the chart. But one thing that you will notice is that we have one support right here. We can actually draw out this trend line from right here. And that in turn still brings us at this support that still exists up here. Now, we have this zone we're going to be watching for. It happens to be right here as well. So if we look at, for instance, this horizontal line up here at this like 452 area, we also have 448. If we break not only this white trend line, but also this 448 level, we could start sinking lower to fill this gap down to 440. And if we break 452, there could be one more push coming because of these previous resistance levels. So if we break 452, there's some resistance at 453.5, but then we also have another unfilled gap way up here. I think I'm going to switch over to Weeble just to show you the gaps because it's going to be more easy. But we're going to be watching this level very, very carefully. But the thing worth noting on SPY would be when you go to the daily time frame, we have a lot of unfilled gaps. So the gaps above, we have one up here towards 456. If 452 breaks and we continue to hold above it and even close above it, we could get one more push towards 456 before this thing tops, in my opinion. Or if we fail to break 452, we fail to close above that and we see the bears start to step in. If we lose 448 and we get that rejection, then we could turn bearish. Those are two of the possibilities I'm seeing. And I think that it would be very healthy for us to get a retracement because we've been pumping so much with next to no downside. So here's how I see this could end up mapping out. So we have a bullish looking structure overall. The market is bullish for December. But for the short term, it would be completely healthy if we get some kind of like small retracement. Now, whether it's a small retracement or not depends on different factors. If we just factor in this area on SPY, you will notice that we have a very significant looking 0.618 retracement. If we look right here from this bottom and go to the top, you will notice that the 0.618 retracement is just at that 440 area, and our golden pocket is very close to that range as well. So 440 is an area of interest. On top of that, we have the unfilled gap down there. So I'm going to go back to this chart to show you. If you look right here, we have this gap down here at this 440 area. And then on top of that, on the 4 hour, we have this imbalance at 440. So we have a lot of indicators pointing in that 440 area. And there is a possibility that we could retrace down there if we get that rejection. But here's the thing, we have another trend line that's going to act as support. So we're going to be watching to see if this intersects as well. I could take a trend line just like this, and we could look at this support right here. I think it kind of like maps like this. And this will act as another support for SPY if the first one ends up breaking. So I'm going to make this yellow so it's easier for you to see. And this could align with 440 very close to like the end of next week if we do end up getting that kind of retracement. But even if we retrace, I am bullish, very, very bullish for the month of December. My view has not changed whatsoever. I just want to show you guys why on earth that is and then kind of map this out. So if we get one more push to the upside, and please try to remember these levels. We also have this like, let me just draw this out for 1 second. Give me 1 second. Right here at this 456 to 455 area, you're going to be watching this as resistance, by the way. I just want to map that out just to show you where the gap is. So I'm going to draw out how December could look just to make this as easy as possible. Now, I'm not going to promise that any of this is going to be 100% accurate, but this is just a general idea of how things could start looking. If SPY gets one more breakout, hypothetically, although I think that this is tricky, as this thing is consolidating, it's been stuck for almost 4 days. But if we get one more breakout, maybe it's because of NVIDIA or something else, we could try to fill that gap and kind of like reject up here, and then we get a very healthy retracement. We see like sellers defend up here at this like 456 area. And then we eventually get like a sell-off down here. We could even drop a little earlier towards this like 440 area. We just try to quickly fill this gap. And as soon as we hit the gap, we just get a quick recovery. And then we just see this thing continue to break out. Going into December, we end up just approaching those all-time highs. I'm seeing something like this as one possibility, but that's going to depend on different factors. Now, if we don't end up getting the breakout, what could also happen is we just respect the yellow trend line as support. So let's just say the market fails from here, because remember, we have NVIDIA's earnings on Tuesday, we have the FOMC minutes on Tuesday, and we have a very short trading week as the market's going to be closed for Thanksgiving, right? So what if the market sells off? What if we get a little sell-off? Historically, the market tends to get sell-offs during the 2nd to 4th week of November, during one of those weeks. And it could be a very healthy pullback right before we get the mega rally for December. So if this plays out, what could happen is if we do sell off from here, let's just say that NVIDIA drops a little bit after earnings or something happens, we could retrace like this back down towards like this 440 area, very close to it. Maybe it's a little sooner. We get a quick gap fill right here before Thanksgiving, and we just drop a little below this, and then we just see this thing kind of like retrace, recover slowly, make its way back to the trend line. Then we just slowly ride this trend line up as we approach the next, cycle, the next upside cycle for December, and we just see the market make a quick, crazy recovery. That would be like another bullish case. That's the second possibility. But the thing I don't know is, why would we stop at 440, right? There's no guarantee we stop there for the retracement. We could retrace even lower depending on the news. So if we were to retrace lower before we get the bounce, you could be eyeing the third possibility, okay? And that could be that we basically, whether we pop and then drop or we drop from here, we basically get a sell off towards like 430 to fill the gap. We have another gap down to like 430. 430 to 433 is where we bottom. And then we just make a nice V-shaped recovery and we just rally for the rest of December and another monstrous rally. So the reason why I drew out 3 possibilities is because I don't know if we're going to get one more pop and a drop. If we don't get a pop and drop, if the market is just done and we're just going to start retracing, then these are the 2 possibilities. We either retrace to 440, then bounce and rally for December, or we could retrace towards 430 and then get the bounce, because this could form like a giant inverse head and shoulders. I know it's a little hard to see. This could be like our left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. That would be like another possibility in this case. But with that being said, guys, I mean, it's very important to go over these possibilities. I'm going to actually retrace back to my previous level, so I had everything drawn out. It's very important to go over these because uh, when it comes to the way the market moves, this will help you understand the possibilities. And it's very important that we are, in my opinion, just like prepared for anything like that. So, that being said, guys, I just wanted to call out that when it comes to Tesla, okay, when it comes to Tesla, we could draw out something very similar. I'm going to remove these indicators just for now, and I'm going to go over how this can end up moving. But what you will see is on Tesla, it's bullish overall. Tesla looks bullish. It looks bullish for December because we have this nice accumulation structure and it's continuing to uptrend. I'm going to go back to SPY for 1 second. I just need to check something before I come back. Going back, I still think that Tesla's still holding up nicely. We have a very, very nice bullish looking structure, but there's no guarantee that Tesla's going to continue to rally forever. And if the market retraces a bit, okay, if there's a small retracement, this could still affect Tesla to some extent. And regardless of what happens, I'm still bullish for the end of the year for Tesla. So what's happening with the algorithms? It's very simple, guys. Tesla's trying to come back here. It wants to go up to like almost 260. That's where Tesla's trying to go. All right. The imbalances need to fill, and we're starting to see bulls stepping in. But before we get to 260, before we get up here, Tesla could retrace a bit. It could trade sideways for a bit if the market's going to slow down just temporarily before we get another rally for the end of November going into December. All right. So that's going to depend on what happens with the market, with NVIDIA's earnings and these external factors and the news, because we're getting some negative news for Tesla. Looking at this trend, our Fibonacci retracement shows that we have some interest at 221. That's the 0.618. We also happen to have this imbalance here towards like 216 to 223. And we have some previous resistance becoming support at 223, which is very close to 221. So I'm seeing some interest there. Now, for the short term, we're going to be watching to see how Tesla moves, because we could take this trend line and we could draw this out like this. We have this resistance that's right here. And we're going to be watching, does this resistance stop Tesla? Does Tesla just start downtrending a little bit more as we start to fill our gaps and such? Because one issue with Tesla is on the daily chart, we didn't finish filling this gap at like 224. So there is still a risk of some downside. But overall, I still think that Tesla's on a very nice uptrend. So you could also do something like this, where you take this trend line, just do a little connect right over here, like around there. And we have this support right over here. So there's like a confluence of support and resistance. This could be very helpful. So I don't know if Tesla's going to pump or drop like for every single day specifically. I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but what I can tell you is that something like this could play out where we end up approaching our Fibonacci retracement area, and we're going to be watching this area of interest down here, very close to 221, just in case we do get some kind of like pullback. If the market gets one more pop, okay, we could see Tesla kind of like pop like this, try to break this trend line, and just come right back down. And then if we end up selling off a little bit, we could see it retrace towards this white trend line, very close to 221, and then slowly make its way back up like this. Approaching the Cybertruck event, it just starts pumping again. I don't know if the Cybertruck event is going to be like a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event. I don't know that. If it is, Tesla could retrace like this and then just continue this uptrend and just start uptrending very nicely for the end of the year and get closer to the higher 200s and just start to rally with the market as we hit December. We could see something crazy like this. And that aligns with this inverse head and shoulders like structure. Tesla can make violent moves to the upside, maybe even after the Cybertruck event. But that is one possibility, okay? Whether we pop or drop or something like that. Now, another possibility would be Tesla just gains relative strength approaching the event. And What could happen is if we do retrace a little harder, right? If we retrace like this and we just go straight down to like 221, we're going to be watching this imbalance at 216. Maybe Tesla hits like 216, and we just trade sideways for a bit before the Cybertruck event. Maybe the market starts to rally a bit. Tesla rallies a little bit, and then we just start a recovery from here. It all depends on if we get a pop and drop or if we just drop. But either way, I just see us basically continuing higher, and I still anticipate the upside. Right, this could also be like a giant cup and handle if you draw out this like green possibility here. So there could be a smaller retracement coming, but I anticipate more upside for the end of November going into December. And just know it's very simple looking at the Tesla chart. We are bullish overall. This chart is bullish. The inverse head and shoulders is playing out. Tesla is trying to get up to about this 260 area, maybe even up to like 270, depending if we break that or not. It's trying to get up here. All right. Does that mean it's going to go in a straight line? The answer is no. We might retrace first, but ultimately, before the year ends, we're going to be pumping very nicely, most likely. And I think that this has to do with the overall market. There's been a lot of talk about a reverse a crash that's going on. That's something I've been talking about in the past. And I think that we're not going to worry about any crash for like 2024 yet. Let's just focus for the end of the year. I believe strongly the year is going to end in a very, very strong note. I think that there's more upside coming for Tesla, anyways. All right. So that's it for this video. I want to make this simple and short. Hopefully, this video was helpful for other people out there. Please don't expect it to be exact. I can't predict the future exactly and perfectly, but I just want to give you guys just a general idea of what the market might end up doing for the next couple of weeks, what Tesla might look like. This is going to help you see where Tesla could end up going based off the algorithms, okay? The algorithms are what are trying to push Tesla up to those higher levels. And I think that this is how Tesla could end up looking. I wanted to keep the TA very, very simple in this video. So hopefully this was helpful. Please remain calm, cool, and collected. And I will most definitely see you guys in the next one. Thanks again. It's Tesla to the moon because the long term is still very bright. And get ready for a December rally, in my opinion. All right. Thank you again and peace out.